So good morning, everyone. So I think we should start already. Good morning, sir. So yesterday we completed our class. Um, chapter one. We completed chapter one yesterday. So today we'll be moving to chapter two. And what we'll be doing in chapter two actually is incident response, business continuity, and disaster recovery concepts. So these are the concepts we'll be talking about in chapter two, in the whole chapter two. So this is the overview of what we'll be doing, right? So in this chapter, you are going to learn about the availability aspects of the CIA triad. Yesterday we talked about the CIA triad, and one of the elements of this CIA triad is availability, right? To make sure that the system is always up and running when needed. So we'll be talking about this aspect, the availability aspect of the CI triad in this whole chapter, right? And the importance of maintaining availability of both human and system resources as well. So, like I said, everything will be on availability. So, these are usually accomplished through the implementation of incident response, business continuity, and disaster recovery. In order for you to put availability in place, these three concepts must be met. So the first one is incident response, the second one is business continuity, and the third one is disaster recovery, which we are going to be talking about in a short while. So while these three plans may seem to overlap in scope, they are the three distinct plans that are vital or important to the survival of any organization. Without these three, concepts in place, an organization, their service might not, be available without this concept, because if they are hit or if they are attacked in any ways, and these concepts are not in place, they don't have incident response plan, they don't have business continuity plan, they don't have this disaster recovery documents in place. If anything happens to them, they don't know what to do. So that's when they'll be, running up and down. But if they have all these three concepts in place, even if they are attacked, they know what to do next. So the primary point to remember in this chapter as we proceed actually is that an incident response plan responds to unexpected changes in operating conditions to keep the business operating. That's the first one. The second one is that a business continuity plan enables the business to continue operating throughout the crisis. So even if there is an incident, if you have business continuity plan in place, you know what to do immediately when there is an incident already. You know that if there is a flood in this building, you have one hot site somewhere that you can just move all your staff to, pending the time you are solving the issue of the flood in this place, right? So you will only need incident disaster recovery if we have failed in incident response and business continuity. So if both the incident response and business continuity plans fail, the disaster recovery plan is activated to help the business return to normal operation as quickly as possible. So we still elaborate more on them as we move on. So let's talk about health and human safety. So when it comes to a career in cybersecurity, for many, the day-to-day focus is monitoring information system and looking out for abnormal network activity or malicious software and threat actors. Security professionals spend their days ensuring the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the systems and data, but in addition to safeguarding network and securing the exchange of data and shared resources, it's important to realize that cybersecurity extends beyond the technical. We actually discussed that yesterday, that cybersecurity is not just about trying to secure your system. People's lives as well is at stake in cybersecurity, and you must protect. So that's what they are saying. So there is nothing more important than the health. Yes, don't forget this. Let's actually, let me see if I can. change this if it works. Okay. So there is nothing more important than the health and safety of our users, co-workers, and customers. I think I sent some questions to the group yesterday. So I saw the one exam question that asked a question similar to this, that there is a disaster that happens in an organization. So what's your priority in the organization? If you have the option of users, pick it. If you have the option of co-workers or customers, those are the priorities. Those are the first thing you must save as a cybersecurity before even trying to attend to computer or server or anything. The life of people in that organization. So this is the chapter objective. So here we prepare it to record the terms and components of incident response, to summarize the components of a business continuity plan, and also to identify the components of disaster recovery. So let's dive into incident response. So we have some terms, some terminology that we used in incidents. When incident occurs, there are some terms that we use. So while security professionals strive to protect systems from malicious attacks, right, or human carelessness, inevitably, despite best efforts, things go wrong. Like you said, there is no system that is 100% safe or secure. There is no system that is 100%. They will always find a loophole or a vulnerability in your system. So for this reason, another role that security professionals play is that of first responder. So if anything happens in the organization, they will be the ones to actually, action the whole thing. They will be the first person to, react to that incident. That what's going on? Let's see what's going on. Is this an attack? Is this a breach or just an event? So an understanding of incident response starts with knowing the terms used to describe various cyber attacks. And these are the terms. The first one is breach. We hear cybersecurity professionals saying we've been breached. So this is what it actually means. It means the loss of control or compromise or unauthorized disclosure or unauthorized acquisition or any similar occurrence where a person other than an unauthorized user accesses or potentially access personally identifiable information, like we discussed yesterday. So PII should only be given to people that have authorized access, and people that shouldn't have authorized access should be denied of that access. So breach will occur when an unauthorized person have access to your sensitive data. Maybe they compromised your server and they have access to people's PII. So in this case, the security of that organization has been breached. So that's what the breach aspect of this means. So let's move to events. So event is any observable occurrence in a network system, in a network or system. Basically, when an event occurs, for example, someone that is trying to log into an account and they tried the password 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. If there is any device that log an event in that organization, when an administrator or a security person go to that device, they can actually see all the events. As okay, this person tried to log in 5 times with incorrect password or username. So basically, that event can be a clue to them that maybe probably someone is trying to hack you. So they will not be like, okay, why is this person trying to, log into this attack many times? So from there, they will not derive an insight to conclude maybe that event can lead to an attack, or it's just an event. Maybe the person just probably forgot the username and the password. But when you see someone trying to log into an account, and in 1 minute they tried the failed password like 1,000 times in 1 minute, how possible? So that means they are using some, some devices, some software to actually hijack that account. So probably that's saying that you should take care, you should take it as a priority. That's not just an event. It's possible to lead to an attack. So an incident is an event that actually or potentially jeopardizes the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of an information system, or the information the system processes, stores, or transmits. So when an incident occurs, like we said an event. Okay, we missed an exploit. Yeah. So an exploit, let's talk about an exploit. So an exploit is a particular attack. So it is named because this attack exploits, this attacks exploit system vulnerabilities. Like we talked about that yesterday, that we only have exploits when there is a vulnerability. That if you don't have any vulnerability, there won't be an exploit. So basically, an exploit will take the advantage of loophole or a vulnerability in your system. We get that? So basically, that's an exploit. An exploit will take advantage of a loophole or a vulnerability in your system. So an incident is an event that actually or potentially jeopardizes the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of an information system, or the information the system processes. So basically, an incident, right, will occur when an attacker has unauthorized access to your system already. They've attacked you already, right? So when that happens, that's an incident. An incident has occurred already. Since they have unauthorized access to your sensitive information or data, that's an incident. So an intrusion is a security event or combination of events that constitutes a deliberate security incident in which an intruder gains or attempts to gain access to a system or system resources without authorization. Authorization. So threat, we discussed threat yesterday. You still remember, right? So basically, a threat is any circumstance or event with the potential to adversely impact. We mentioned that already yesterday, and we said it's bad consequences or bad event, right, that happens when you are being attacked already. So threat is any circumstance or event with the potential to adversely impact organizational operations, which include their mission, the organization functions, their image, reputation, and also assets that an organization houses, the individuals, the partners of that organization or nation through an information system via an unauthorized access, destruction, disclosure, modification of information, and of denial of service. So basically, that's threat. So any circumstance or event with the potential to adversely impact organizational operation that can cause damage. And we defined threat yesterday that anyone that has the capability or the potential to take advantage of the vulnerability in your system. You still remember that? So let's move to vulnerability. So vulnerability And most of these things we've actually discussed them. So vulnerability is a weakness in an information system or a loophole in an information system or system security procedure or internal controls or implementation that could be exploited by a threat or a threat actor. We actually explained that yesterday. I don't think we need to go deep. So zero-day exploits or zero-day. So zero-day, previously unknown system vulnerability with the potential of exploitation without risk of detection or prevention because it does not, in general, fit recognized patterns, signatures, or method. So most of the vulnerability that will occur in an organization, it's probably has been happened to someone before. Maybe one organization have faced that kind of attack before, right? But your own organization will now, try to learn from that attack. We try to, collect signature of that attack, how that attack really works, how the vulnerability really works. Then from there, you will know that if you see anything like this, any signature like this, so that means this signature is actually speaking to this type of attack. So you will try to avoid that type of attack. But in this zero-day, it has never occurred. It has never happened. That's the first time it is occurring. So there is no security, device or mechanism in place to fight it because they've not actually detected it before. So it's the first time. So that's why they say it is a previously unknown system vulnerability with the potential of exploitation without risk of detection. There are some tools actually that can actually detect 0 days. I don't think there are some tools in place, but basically what this term is saying is the definition. We are just trying to explain the definition. It's the first time you are seeing that vulnerability, and it has not been seen before. So that's 0 day. So these are the goals of incident response. Every organization must be prepared for incidents. Despite the best efforts of an organization management and security teams to avoid or prevent problems, it is inevitable that adverse events, that's bad events, will happen that have the potential to affect business mission or objectives. Like I said, there is no system that is 100% secure. So that means you have to put some things in place that even if you are going to be hacked, it will be mitigated, it will be reduced. But there's no system that is 100% safe. They are hacking Googles, they are hacking Twitters, they are hacking Facebooks, and you can't tell me those companies, those big tech, they don't have security devices in place. They do, but they still hack them. So that is basically saying there is no system that is 100% safe. So with that, you still have to put some things. So you will not think that since they will even people hack us, don't let us even don't let us even bother ourselves. Let's just leave them. You still have to put some things in place so that if that attack is even going to occur, it will be minimal. So the priority of any incident response is to protect life. That's the priority of any incident response, is to protect life, health, and safety of people or staff or individual in that organization. So that's the priority. So when any decision related to priorities is to be made, always choose safety of people first. That's what I said the other time. People first and mission later. Because people are the ones that actually makes the mission. And if you kill them all, basically that means there's no mission and there will not be, we will not be here today. So the first priority is to save people. Then every other things can follow. You can now decide to go and save your router or your switch or your server, but make sure you save people first. So the primary goal of incident management is to be prepared. Like I said, you have to be prepared that we don't know, probably in the future, things might happen. right? So because it is unforeseen, so let's just put some things in place so that when they occur, we will know how to actually attend to those incidents or attacks. So preparation requires having a policy and a response plan that will lead the organization through the crisis. So there are policies and response plan that, if an incident happen now, you know the next thing to do. Should we move out of this building, or should we, continue working, or will this, disrupt our day-to-day activities? So what's the next thing to do? That's basically the response plan, how to actually respond to an incident. So some organizations use the term crisis management to describe this process. Still the same thing. So you may decide to choose any word for that. An event is any memorable occurrence. Most events are harmless. Most events are harmless. However, if the event has the potential to disrupt the business mission, then it is called an incident. Before they attack you, you've been seeing some warning, probably some notification that someone is trying to log into your account. Are you the one? And you decide to ignore. You've seen some event, some occurrence that someone is trying to break into your account, but you didn't take any action, right? During that process, it's still an event, it has not occurred, but you are still seeing, some notification that it's possible that they attack you, but you didn't do anything. So when that event now turns to an incident, maybe the person has hijacked your account, right? It is now called an incident by this time. So every organization must have incident response plan that will help preserve business viability and survival all the time. All the organization must have incident response plan in place. It is necessary and compulsory, so that when anything is going to happen, you know what to do. So the incident response process is aimed at reducing the impact of an incident, so the organization can resume the interrupted operations as soon as possible. We've discussed that. So note that incident response planning is a subset of the greater discipline of business continuity management, which we will cover shortly. Then we have some components of the incident response plan. These are the elements, that makes incident response plan. These are the things we will find in incident response plan. So the first one is preparation. You have to prepare first. That's okay, let's prepare in case anything will occur. And under this preparation, that's where we have to develop a policy that is approved by the management. We have a policy that says, IT team shall, do this. Top management shall, do this. So all of this plan, will be spelled out, right, to every department and every stakeholders, their responsibility in this incident response plan, what they are going to do when the attack occurs. So the first one is to develop a policy, and that policy must be approved by the management. The second one is to identify critical data and systems single point of failure. So basically, if single point of failure simply means a weakness that, if they exploit, can actually bring the whole system down. For example, if you have a car that only has one key, right, and you mistakenly maybe lose that key, that's the single point of failure to that key, because you cannot move that car anymore until you see another key. Or a weak link in a chain, and if that link breaks, the whole chain is useless. So that's a single point of failure. So another one is to train staff on incident response plan. You have to call your staffs and tell them that, if you see things like this is what to do. If you see a phishing email, this is how to respond to a phishing. So there are a lot of simulations to actually, train staff on how to respond to an attack like that, like phishing attack. So there are tools like that to actually, train a staff. You just send it to them maybe on a Monday morning to see which of the staffs is going to click that, an email. Then if you see some staff, after the training, I still see some staffs clicking the email, you still have to call them and retrain them on how to respond to that kind of email in the future, until you have like maybe 1 or 2 staffs in our organization that is still clicking it. So another one is to implement an incident response team, which is covered in subsequent topic. So another one is to practice incident identification. So that's where we try to know if that incident is an event or an attack. First thing is that you will identify that, okay, is this an incident already, or it's just an event? It can just be, maybe your system is trying to upgrade or anything and it's just sending a warning. So you don't really need to put more effort to respond to that kind of event. But what if it is something that will take, control of your system? So then you give it priority. So you identify. So also you have to identify roles and responsibilities of people. So you will map it out for them, or you spell it out for them. This is what you will do if this type of attacks occur in your department. This is what you will do. This is what you will do. Also, plan the coordination of communication between stakeholders. You will plan how to communicate to stakeholders if an event occurs. Probably maybe the customer. You have a plan in place that, okay, if this incident occurs, this is how to talk to them. We don't just go outside there and be like, they've hacked us already. There should be a plan on how to communicate to them when an incident occurs. All the stakeholders, we have to communicate to them. They must have to know that you've been breached or you've been hacked. Also, we will consider the possibility that a primary method of communication may not be available. Aside from taking the phone number of all the stakeholders in order to communicate to them, we will still have to probably collect another means of communicating them, maybe their email address or their next of kin address, in case that first contact, their own main contact, is not going through, so that you have another thing to bank on. So that's the first one. The first one is preparation. So the second one is detection and analysis. So in detection and analysis, you will have to monitor all possible attack vectors. We talked about attacks vector yesterday. We said it is a means by which an attacker can take or get hold of your system. It's just an attack surface. So also, you have to analyze incidents using known data and threat intelligence. So if for example, you have a malware on your system and you are thinking, is this malware going to cause an attack to my system? There are a lot of application or sites that you can go to check if that malware is actually going to harm your organization or your system. So also you have to prioritize incident response. That which one should come first. Then also you will standardize incident documentation. So after that, after detection and analysis, we will contain. So when we talk about containment, we are saying we should isolate our system. And there are a lot of ways you can isolate your system, maybe using sandbox to test a software to know if that software, if you install it on your system, is going to cause harm. So you don't want to roll it out for all your staff, but you want to take it somewhere, an isolated area, that even if that software is going to cause a problem, it will just be in the confine of that, attack box alone or software alone. So in containment, we try to gather evidence. Also, you will choose an appropriate containment strategy, maybe using Sandbox or any other software to actually, check it out. Also, you will have to identify the source of the event. Where is this event actually coming from? So it's after you identify that you will know the system to actually map out or to cut off and find a solution to it. So a vulnerability, or let me say an incident, will start from someone's system and it will spread to every other system. But immediately you identify the source, you can just disconnect that system from the whole network so that it will not affect the remaining system in an organization. So now after that, we isolate that system. We try to isolate the system so that it will not spread to the entire organization. Then we have post-incident activity. Mistakenly denied. So post-incident activity. Under this place, we try to identify evidence that may need to be retained. That's okay. Among the evidence that we've recovered, which one should we keep? So that if you are trying to do, an assessment later on after the whole incident has been solved, so that next time we know that if we see any of this kind of signature, that means we should not even try to, play with it. Then you document lessons learned. That's okay. How do we, get attacked or hacked? Who clicked what? Then after you find out that, okay, it is this person that clicked this type of link, then you can now bring all the staffs and train them that next time if you see this kind of phishing email or an incident, don't click. It's bad. So then you document the lesson learned so that when it happens the next time, or so that you can use it to train someone that is just coming to your organization or the staff that is still in the organization. So this is the retrospect of what we've been talking about. The first one is preparation. The second one is detection and analysis. The third one is containment, eradication, and recovery. And the fourth one is post-incident activity. So like we said, you have to consult with the management. Even after mapping out the incident response plan, they will have to be the one to be like, okay, go on. We can implement this policy. So you don't take that decision. Management will be the one to give you go ahead. Then after go ahead, you can implement that policy. Basically, that's what this is saying. Then we have incident response team. So along with the organizational need to establish a security operations center, which is SOC, so it's the need to create a suitable incident response team. So a properly staffed and trained incident response team can be leveraged, dedicated, or a combination of the two, depending on the organization's requirements. So in an organization, a SOC analyst or a SOC department, they will be the first person to actually respond to an incident, because that's their job. They must know what is going on in an organization. If your normal day traffic flow is 20 megabytes, and on a Monday morning you are seeing 40, so you should know that something is probably going on. Maybe someone is trying to exfiltrate a data from your organization or transfer data from your organization, So SOC and SOC department will be the one to actually respond first. So many IT professionals are classified as first responders for incidents. They are the first ones on the scene and know how to differentiate typical IT problem from security incidents. So they are like medical first responder who have the skills and the knowledge to provide medical assistance at accident scene and help get the patient's medical facility when necessary. Because they know what to do, they actually know what to do. So they will be the first person to actually respond to any incident, since they have skill in actually attending to such type of attack, that type of attacks. So a typical incident response team is a cross-functional group of individuals who represent the management, technical, and functional areas of responsibility most directly impacted by security incidents. So potential team members include the following. First one is representatives of senior management, information security professionals, legal representatives, public affairs or communication representatives, and engineering representatives. All of these people, they must be among the incident response team because they have their own role in trying to attend to that incident.
So, my question is about what you just said.
Okay.
Information security professionals.
Okay.
And then we have engineering representatives, system and data.
Okay.
I'm trying to draw a line between those two categories of people.
Between senior management.
No. Information
security professionals
and engineering representatives, system and network.
Okay. So information security professionals, they are in charge of trying to, protect your sensitive digital information, right? They are not necessarily be the one to configure your routers and switches, but they will protect it for you. If any incident is coming, they will see it, right?
Is it different from cybersecurity?
What's that?
Cybersecurity experts, can they function in that line? Yes.
An information security professional. That's it. That's their job.
Okay. What about system and network?
So basically, system and network can be your network engineer, and they can be your system engineer, maybe your administrators. They assign a system to you when you come to an organization.
Okay.
So, and your network engineer can be, as you are doing CCN, Yeah. So your network engineer is just someone that will, give you maybe service and trying to, keep the broadband of an organization going. You get that?
But a network engineer too can configure switches and routers now. So that's their call too, right?
That's what I just said. So all of these people, they must be part of incident response team. So team members should have a training in incident response and the organization's incident response plan. You have to train them on how to use incident response plan. When an incident occurs, how will you guys go about it? Aside from you mapping it out, you still have to train people on how to carry it out. Yes, in that team, yes. So typically, team members assist in investigating the incidents, assessing the damage, collecting evidence, reporting the incident, and also initiating recovery procedures. That's their job. So typically, team members assist in investigating the incident. So we try to investigate an incident. So that's why we have in SOC, we have level 1, level 2. There are some level that they are just there. They are a team on their own. but they are there to detect, an incident, right? Well, if it is incident that they can actually resolve, they will resolve it at that instance. But if it is something that is, they can't actually attend to, they will transfer it to level 2. And the level 2 tool is transferred to incident response team because they have more experience than those two. So, yeah. So the team member assists in investigating the incident, assessing the damage, collecting evidence. You can call the evidence artifacts. As evidence or artifacts. So reporting the incident and also initiating recovery procedures in an organization. So most also participate in the remediation and lessons learned stages and help with root causes analysis. English. So when an incident occurs, okay. So these teams, we call them, computer incident response team, or also you can call them SOC, analyst, or computer security incident, anyone. It's just the name given to them. So when an incident occurs, the response team has 4 primary responsibilities. They have 4 primary responsibilities. And one of them is to determine the amount and scope of damage caused by the incident. Like, what's the damage caused in an organization? What have we lost? Okay, so the first one is that they will determine the amount and scope of damage that is caused by an incident. Another responsibility is that they will determine whether any confidential information was compromised during the incident. You understand that? I need to explain. So also, they will have to implement any necessary recovery procedure to restore security and recover from incident-related damage. So basically, like we said the other time, that all the team member would you will need to take them through the incident response plan, right? So that they will know what to do if an incident occurs. So basically, that's what that's saying. So that when an incident occurs, they know what to actually, do to recover the damaged devices.
So just to be clear, sir, in this team now, since we have a member of the senior management there, does that unit still need to officially go to the management, or the person there who is a member can represent the management and just give an order to go ahead with the plan?
The team head of that department, is that what you're saying?
No.
In senior management and the incident response team.
Yes,
What you're saying is there's an incident now.
Okay.
And part of the explanation is you cannot take decision on what to do to remediate it.
And that's why the person you are asking is part of the incident response plan.
So we want to relay it to management.
They are part of it. It's not like they will be the ones to do the technical work, but they are part of it because their job is to accept or approve the incident. You get that part? Yes. Also, okay. Another responsibility is to supervise the implementation of any additional security measure necessary to improve security and also prevent recurrence of that incident. So after an incident, and security people, they determine that, okay, you need to put firewall in place, right? So they will be part of these people or team that will try to implement that device. Then we have business continuity. So the importance of business continuity. The intent of business continuity plan is to sustain business operation while recovering from a significant disruption. That's okay, we've been attacked and all our servers are down. So what's the business continuity plan? So the business continuity plan, basically what this will do is that maybe probably they have another hot site somewhere, right? While they are trying to resolve the problem that is happening here, they can just move to another site so that the business will continue. It's not like they will attack them and the business will go down. After attack, the business still have to continue. So that's basically what the business continuity plan will be talking about. How to continue your business even after being attacked. So a key part of the plan is communication. So including multiple contact methodologies and backup numbers in case of a disruption of power or communications. So many organizations we establish a phone tree, so that if one person is not available, right, they know who else to call. So if you are in charge of generator and you are like 5 in your department, the part of business continuity is to have those people's number, the 5 of them, so that if there is power disruption in an organization, if you call one person and his number is not going through, you can call the other person, and you can call the other person, and you can call the other person. So organization will go through their procedure and checklist to make sure they know exactly who is responsible for which action. So they will know that, okay, this person is the one in charge in the afternoon session. So why are you not there when the incident happens? So no matter how many times they have flown without fail, pilots go through a checklist before takeoff. They'll be like, is this thing check? Is this thing check? Check before takeoff. They have to check everything so that they won't get into the middle of the air and they later detect that the brake is not working. So similarly, a plan must include established procedures and a thorough checklist so that no vital element of business continuity will be missed during that process. They have to check everything, if everything is checked all the time, so that if an incident occurs, the business continuity plan is complete. It's not when an incident occurs, that's when you now detect that, okay, this person number is not part of our business continuity. It doesn't make sense. So it must be updated all the time. So the goals of business continuity. Business continuity refers to enabling the critical aspects of the organization to function, perhaps at a reduced capacity, during a disruption caused by any form of disturbance, attack, infrastructure failure, or natural disaster. So it refers to enabling the critical aspects of the organization to function, to keep functioning, even after they are attacked. That's the purpose of the business continuity. Even after your critical device is attacked, you still have to continue working. Most incidents are minor and can be handled easily with minimal impact. So like a system requiring a reboot. So for example, but after a few minutes, the system is back in operation and the incident is over. That one is just minimal incidents, right? But sometimes a major incident will interrupt business, like denial of service attack or DDoS. That's huge for an organization. So incident will interrupt business for an unacceptable length of time, like DDoS, like I said, they will just bring down their system until they are able to resolve it, right? And the organization cannot just follow an incident plan, but must move toward business continuity. We've thought our business plan that, okay, these things have to be in place, right? But now you've been attacked and you follow the incident plan. If your incident plan is not working, you have to move to business continuity. Business have to continue. Maybe aside from this Aptech, center here, there's another Aptech center in Okefia. In case anything happens to this Aptech center, business have to continue. They will just move all of you to Okefia, since they have another site there, instead of closing down, and they should tell everybody to stop coming to another organization. So they will move to Okefia for business to continue. So developing a business continuity plan requires a significant organizational commitment in terms of both personnel and financial resources. To gain this commitment, organizational support for business continuity planning efforts must be provided by executive management or an executive sponsor. Without the proper support, business continuity planning efforts have little chance of success. So there must be a support from executive management for business continuity plan to work. Then we have a component of a business continuity plan. So the component of business continuity plan, like we have the component of incident response team the other time. So the first one is the list of the business continuity plan team members. So business continuity plan must have the business continuity team member in it, and including multiple contacts, methods, and backup members, that if this team is not available, they can call this team so as to just keep the business going. If someone's contact number is not going, do we have another person contact that will do the same thing in order to keep the business running? The other one is to immediate response procedure and checklist. So, and the checklist is security and safety procedure, fire suppression procedures, notification of appropriate emergency response agency, like the firewall, like the fire alarm that we mentioned yesterday. So notification systems and call trees for alerting personnel that the business continuity plan is being enacted. There should be a notification that will inform people that, okay, we are carrying out business continuity plan now. That's the next stage. So another one is guidance for management, including designation of authority for specific management. So how and when to enact the plan? When are we going to actually carry out the plan? Two must be there. That's okay, you only carry out the plan when this so attack occurs, or when you can carry out this type of work again in an organization. Then after that, you can carry out the business continuity plan. Also, contact numbers for critical members of the supply chain, maybe the vendors that supplies the interactive system to you, or the customers, possible external emergency providers, and third-party partners. All of them will be included in business continuity team. So as to, if you need anything from them, you can just call them. So we have business continuity in the workplace. So the business continuity plan needs to be maintained somewhere where it can be accessed. So often in modern organizations, everything is digital and not provided as a hard copy. It's not a book. Maybe it's somewhere in someone's system or in the organization server already. So this can be dangerous, just like storing everything within a single office location. When you have your business continuity plan, for example, in a server that they just hacked, and you have to access that server in order to take out your business continuity plan on what to do, and they've hacked it already. So that's double disaster. So some organizations have what is called Red Book, which is given to an appropriate individual outside. All the procedures are outlined in that document. In case, for example, a hurricane hits, the power is out, all the facilities are compromised, and there is no access to electronic backups. So they will give maybe someone outside of that organization the Red Book, that in case we cannot access our server or we don't have power and we have to carry out our business continuity plan, please, when we need this book, give it to us. So it is important to update this hard copy Red Book anytime the electronic copy is updated. So when you update the electronic copy in your server, you have to go back to your red copy, your book 2, and put it there. So that means when you are updating a digital one, you have to update the book ones too. So this is business continuity in action. So what does business continuity looks like in action? Imagine that a company's business department, suffers a complete loss in a fire. All their maybe books burned, all their entries, everything burned down. So the fire occurred overnight when none of them is at the office. So no personnel were in the building. A business impact analysis, or BIA, was performed 4 months ago and identified business department functions as very important to the company. That all of these documents that is in the business department is very critical to the organization. They detect that 4 months before the fire incident, but not immediately affecting other areas of work. Through a previously signed agreement, the company has an alternative site, right, which the business department can work, and it can be available in less than 1 week. Until that site is fully ready, customer business inquiries will be answered by customer service staff. So the business department personnel will remain in the alternate working site until a new permanent site is available again. That's the example that I made the other time, that Aptech has a center here and they have another one in Okefia. Maybe, God forbid, anything happens to this one, they can just move to Okefia. So in this scenario, the business impact analysis has already identified the dependency of customer billing inquiries and revenue. So because the company has ample cash reserves, a week without billing is acceptable during this interruption to normal business, because they still have cash at hand. So pre-planning was realized by having an alternate work site ready for the personnel and having the customer service team handle the billing department's call during the transition temporary office space. They've actually prepared this. They've foreseen that, okay, probably in the future, something might happen to the organization. So let's have another site somewhere, so that if this organization burns down, they can move to another site so that business will continue. But what if they don't do that? They just have a single company that house all their critical devices and the fire erupted. So that means the business will not continue, because they will have to buy tools again, they will have to do a lot of things, and during that process the business will be down. Unlike having another site somewhere that you can just move to immediately and the business continues.
Thanks, sir.
Next one.
I'm trying to follow what you're saying.
Okay.
In practical terms.
Okay.
You see, what I am thinking, apart from having another site somewhere, I think data of a company, maybe it has to be backed up maybe in the cloud or something, because if something is wrong with the data of the company, even if they have another site somewhere, if the system can no longer recognize that, oh, this person has an account with us, and he has also, for example, a bank, that he has 10 naira in his account, and now can he not just come trying to withdraw 20 naira because they have lost record?
So I just actually used building, and I'm saying I used building as an example, and I used the replicates of a building. So for example, if you have a company, that has an on-prem server, right, that have all their critical assets in-house, let's say in this building, they can have the replicant of that same devices, critical devices, in the cloud. Maybe Azure. Even if they have it in Azure, they can still have it in Azure. Maybe they will still have AWS. And after AWS, if you have the money, you can still have it in Google, because they can't have the whole thing at the same time. So that's what we call redundancy, steps. So after one is done, you can move to another one, and if that one too is done, you can move to another one. That answered your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
so this is disaster recovery. How to recover from a huge loss from a disaster. So in the business continuity module, the essential elements of business continuity planning were explored. So disaster recovery planning steps in where business continuity lives off. Like we said, we activate disaster recovery when both the incident planning and the business continuity is not working. That's when we now activate the third one, the disaster recovery. So when a disaster strikes or an interruption of business activity occurs, a disaster recovery plan guides the action of your emergency response team until the end goal is reached, which is to see the business restore to full last known reliable operation. Disaster recovery refers specifically to restoring the information technology and communication services and systems needed by an organization, both during the period of disruption and during restoration of normal services. So majorly the disaster recovery, right, is just probably steps to follow when after effects, maybe after hacked, we bring out the disaster recovery plan. That okay, when an incident like this happens, this is the plan, this is the disaster recovery plan that we have to follow in order to put everything together again. So basically, that's everything that we're talking here, right? So disaster recovery refers specifically to restoring the information technology and communication services and systems needed by an organization, both during the period of disruption and during restoration of normal services. That's what I just explained, right? So the recovery of a business function may be done independently of the recovery of IT and communication services. However, the recovery of IT is often crucial to the recovery and sustainment of business operations. So all of these services that we are trying to recover, they are very critical to the business, and they have to be, recover as fast as possible by following the plan, the disaster recovery plan. So whereas business continuity planning is about maintaining critical business functions, disaster recovery planning is about restoring it. Do we get the difference?
yes.
Business continuity planning is about maintaining critical business functions, while disaster recovery planning is about restoring it when anything happens to them. So this is disaster recovery in real world. let's say at a hospital in Los Angeles, it took 260 days, about 8.5 months, to discover that there was a compromise. You know, those people, they've been sitting in their service, in their infrastructure, without the hospital actually knowing. You know, there are a lot of hackers like that you will not know that they are in your network. You know, they will just sit, even they can sit for like 10 years in your network. They have access to your network, but you don't know. They are hackers. They've hacked your company, but they are not stealing anything. Or probably they are stealing something, you don't know. But they sit in that your network until they see something that is very important or attractive to them, and that's when they will eat you. So you will think they just hacked you yesterday. Meanwhile, they've hacked you like 10 years ago, but you don't know. So in this case, the hospital could not really return to doing business by using the last backup because it was riddled with a time-based malware that will corrupt all the data on the system as soon as it was restored. Even after restoring it, it will still corrupt because of the malware. They have a backup, flash somewhere. That backup, during the backup, they mistakenly back a malicious software up with the backup. So when they eat them, they are trying to restore, but they couldn't because of the malware in that backup. So the hospital needed to go back nearly a year to restore the entire system. A year old. So that means all the outdated files and everything will be gone. And then restore the remaining data piece by piece to avoid the infection, like your flash that you brought that day. Okay. That thing affected my system too. So this scenario highlights the need for multiple levels of backup and retention period to address organization needs. So, when you gave me the flash, you were seeing some malware that it will ask you to click and click and click. So that's the only backup you have. That means if you have all your property documents and that's the only way to access it, that means it's gone for life. And you don't have any backup. That means those things are gone for life. Except maybe probably you have one flash, maybe when you purchase that land. Maybe when you purchase 2, maybe let's say for example that flash contains 10 of your houses and everything in it, but you have one when you have 2 to keep it somewhere in your house, maybe in your wardrobe. And when this one was hacked, you was like, well, I have 2 inside. Well, you can continue without 2, but you've lost 8 properties already. So complex systems often store valuable information across several servers. While at its most basic level, disaster recovery plan include backing up data at the server level. So it is also necessary to consider the database itself, as well as any dependencies on other systems. In this more complex scenario, data is entered by users into one system and database and is then distributed to other systems. This is common in large enterprise where multiple systems need to talk to each other to maintain common data. For example, if I have a malware or a worm, right, that I can actually send to Mr. Dari, and Mr. Dari needs to communicate to finance team, and finance team too, we need to communicate to top management, and the trend continues like that. We have infected Mr. Dari's system with a malware that if you send it to someone, that person too will be compromised. The person's system too will be compromised. And if that person to send it to someone, the person's system too will be compromised like that. So in another hospital, for example, the radiology department used a different system than the laboratory. In this case, a separate routine copied the patient's data from the registration system, right, to the laboratory and radiology system, which technically use separate databases. So basically, they are saying they have different backups. So it is important to understand the flow of data and the intricate dependencies of one system on another to properly document and implement a disaster recovery plan that will be successful when it is needed. Then we have a component for disaster recovery as well, just as we have for the others. First one is executive summary, providing a high-level overview of the plan. That will tell you, okay, this is what disaster recovery is doing. The overview of everything the disaster recovery is doing. That's executive summary. That's the first thing you will see. Then the department-specific plans. That maybe this department, this is what you will do after disaster. It should be there as well. The technical guides for IT personnel responsible for implementing and maintaining critical backup systems too will be there. Okay, I'm not using my system. I actually came with some pictures, but this is not my system anyways. Maybe next time. There are full copies of the plan for critical disaster recovery team members. Full copies of the plan. So each team will have the copy of the disaster recovery plan at hand. In case anything happens, then they can carry it out. They don't have to wait for anybody to bring the disaster recovery to them. They have it, they have the copy already. This is the checklist for certain individuals, probably those that will carry out the operation. The first one is critical disaster recovery team members. We have checklists to help guide their actions amid the chaotic atmosphere of a disaster. So they have step-by-step documents that they will follow if anything happens. But okay, if this thing happens, this is what we are going to follow. This is what we are going to do. They will have the copy at hand. So IT personnel will have technical guides to help them get alternate sites up and running. We have what they will, what we actually direct them to another site, whereby they will just, and maybe in a day, they will help the whole, department to configure the system and, up and running in no time. Managers and public relations personnel will have simple to follow, high-level documents to help them communicate the issue accurately without requiring input from team members who are busy working on recovery. So management too, they will have their own copy. Even if it is technical, you have to bring it to their level. That's sad. If you see this is what you will do. Maybe you put it in bracket for them that click one. When you click one, it will pop up. You will see pop up. You pop the eye to come out at the other side. Then you can drop. You have to explain to them because probably maybe they don't understand the IT terms, what you are saying. So you have to, come to their level to explain to them. So this is disaster recovery in action. I will go to the diagram. This is the processed transactions from 1 to 14, but 13 is missing, right? And beneath it, we have database backups. So the Thunderbolt is the incident that occurred undetected by you. You didn't see it, but it occurs. So the next side is possibly compromised transaction and corrupted backups. So 15, 17, 18, 19 has been corrupted or compromised. Maybe they've been hijacked during the process. Maybe there is man in the middle or someone that actually take all those data and manipulate it and send it to you without you knowing. So, okay, I think they explain. So an example of disaster recovery in action is the use of system backups. So that's an example of disaster recovery action, to use system backups. So the timeline in this image looks backward in time from the moment of incident. Let me take it back. Backward in time from the moment of incident detection on the right. So as a way of identifying the amount of work that will be lost by reloading from a backup. So transaction processing event, the triangles, which is that, and some backup events shown as database symbols have been numbered as event 1 through 21. Okay. So from left to right, along the timeline. So the grey transaction events from 1 to 14 are ones that were fully processed prior to the intrusion or start of the incident. Those ones have been backed up before the incident occurred. And those, other ones, they are the ones that are backing up after the incident has been occurred. So the green transaction events 1 to 14 are the ones that were fully processed prior to the intrusion or the start of the incident, presumably, and if antivirus and other systems are working correctly. This is a safe assumption. This transaction were not exposed to possible loss of integrity, authenticity, privacy, or any other security attributes. The database symbol shown in gray, event 2, 5, 9, and 13, which is this, 2, 5, 9, and 13. All prior to the event represent some form of system and data backup that may have captured the changes to the system as a result of properly completing the green transactions. It is event 15 to 21, this, however, that are in doubt. They may be okay, or they may represent a lack of integrity if the data was compromised. So the data backup symbol in orange between the time of the incident occurrence and it's being detected are clearly in doubt as to their integrity or safety. They may contain bogus, corrupted data, or they may even contain malware in varieties of forms. Moving backward in time of the incident, it's not until the rightmost gray database symbol, event 13. Okay. The backup just before the incident occurs, that there is a lasting trustworthy backup. So all these backups, they back them up before an incident even occurs at all. They are backed up. And these, they are in doubt. Because, after maybe the organization detected that they've been hacked, that's when they back all this one up. So they don't know the validity and the completeness of this data. Maybe they've been, manipulated in one way or the other. But they know that these data are safe because they've been backed up before the incident. And these data are the ones backed up after the incident has occurred.
Sorry. Can we look at the man in the middle scenario?
Like a practical?
No. What I'm saying is this. A system has been compromised.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
But it was caused by a certain man in the middle.
Yeah.
Who had been there for long, just as we painted some minutes ago.
Mm.
You understand?
Mm.
Now, if they're trying to restore the system,
okay,
maybe that man in the middle, the kind of manipulation he has done, will make him to naturally come up again with the company system. You understand?
No. Come again.
What makes man in the middle is that he is not seen,
yes,
not detected,
unauthorized.
Yes, and still not detected. Like the moon.
Yes, yes.
So now, and he has now done the damage. Now they want to restore the system. They are bringing back, putting up all the systems. Yes. And this man in the middle is coming up again with all the systems. You understand? How do you deal with such a scenario? Because they won't know again because it will compromise the system again.
Yeah, there are a lot of tools that will help you to detect that. What is it? I didn't get. Yes. That we know that, like we said, right? I think I've cited this example like 3 times. If you download an app from one vendor, there's a sharp value for that application, right? And you have another version of that application, and the sharp value doesn't tally with the one at the vendor's website. So that means that software has been compromised somewhere. So if you bring out the sharp value of the original one and the sharp value of the fake one, you will know that they are different things. So nobody has to tell you that this is the fake version, because it doesn't correlate with what they have in their website. But in the case of someone in the middle, right, there are a lot of things that we can actually use to detect such person, that someone is sitting here filtering your data. But I don't think we can go through the process. Even Mr. Ibrahim said we have to go through some practical, maybe towards the end of the program. But if you want to, start talking about management, we have to put up some VMware, some VM, some Linux machine, and try to explain, or probably you have your this thing on.
Yes.
But it can be today.
All right.
Yeah, maybe when Mr. Ibrahim said we are going to do that, then we do it. Where are we? Okay. So moving backward in time of the incident, it is not until the rightmost gray database symbol, event 13, the backup just before the incident occurred, that there is a last clean, trustworthy backup, which is this one. This is the last trustworthy, data before the incident occurs. These are clean. These are the data after the incident has occurred. So the graphic identified 3 sets of work that were lost since the incident started to occur. The first one is that all transactions or changes prior to that last good backup that were not part of that backup, if it was an incremental or partial backup and not a full backup, all transactions or changes prior to that last good backup, the green one, that are not part of that backup, if it was an incremental or partial backup and not a full backup. Okay. So basically what they are saying is, if these are not done once, maybe they are doing the backup, one after the other, not in blocks of size. They do backup, maybe 1 before 3, then 3 before 4, then 4 before 5. Then that's when they detect that, okay, what we backed from 1 to 14 is safe, and the ones we back from 15 to 21 are not safe. But if they are in block size, if they back them up at the same time, there's no way they can actually detect that some are corrupted and some are safe. So they were able to actually detect that 1 to 14 are safe because they are incremental backup. They don't do it once. But if they do it together, they won't be able to actually differentiate between which one is corrupt and which one is good. All transactions and other changes processed or attempted from the backup forward in time until after the incident was detected, not when it started to occur. All transaction changes that would normally have been processed from the time the incident was detected until the system was fully operational again, but were not able to be processed at all due to the disruption. This is the chapter summary. Should we take it today? 10:41. So maybe to just finish it. Chapter summary. No. For chapter 2, you know. Yeah, this is the summary for chapter 2. So basically, like we've explained, this chapter focused mainly on the availability aspects of the CIA triad. That's where we started. That is chapter we basically, you can actually recall everything we've been saying. It's all about data being available, organization being available at all time. So we focused on the availability aspect of the CIA triad and the importance of maintaining the availability for business operations to continue. So maintaining business operations during or after an incident, event, breach, I think we explained all these terms, right? So it's accomplished through the implementation of incident response. Get that? So when we go back to our material, we will actually get all of those again very well. So here are the primary concepts to remember from this chapter. The first one is that the incident response plan, the IRP, responds to abnormal operating conditions to keep the business operating. That's the incident response plan. It responds to abnormal operating conditions to keep the business going. So those are the things, the response, the how to respond to incidents, basically to be able to keep the business going. So the four main components of incident response are preparation, like we said, detection and analysis, containment, eradication and recovery, and the last one is post-incident activity. Those are the components of incident response. So incident response teams are typically a cross-functional group of individuals who represent the management, technical, and functional area of responsibility most directly impacted by a security incident. So these people, the incident response team, contains the management, the technical people, and the functional area people, and people that actually do their day-to-day task. They must be mapped out of the incident response part. They must be part of it so that when incidents happen, you know what to call. So these teams are trained in incident response and the organization incident response plan. When an incident occurs, the team is responsible for this, the following. First one is that they determine the amount of and scope of damage and whether any confidential information was compromised. We talked about that. And the other part is that they implement recovery procedure to restore security and recover from incident-related damage. We explained that too. So, and also they will supervise implementation of future measures to improve security and prevent recurrence of the incident. That's where we talked about being part of the group of people that will put some devices in place so that if an event is coming next time or in the future, they won't be able to come into the organization. And after that, we discussed, hold on, sorry, I have to check something. Okay. I thought people in the meeting are not part of, okay, yeah, they are part, but they are left out. So Then the second part is where we talked about business continuity plan. We said the business continuity plan is basically designed to keep the organization operating through a crisis, right? When a crisis occurs, business continuity plan will be the one to keep an organization going. Components of business continuity plan include details about how and when to enact the plan, that's when to carry out the plan, and notification system and call trees for alerting teams. So call trees is, these are the group of people in this department and these are their numbers. So if this guy's number is not going, then call his supporting members. Yeah, okay. So in addition, it includes contact numbers, like I said. It includes contact numbers for critical third-party partners. Also, if there are third parties that are supplying them maybe gadgets or anything like that, they should have their own number too, in case they need their help. So also, external emergency providers, vendors, and customers too, their numbers too must be part of the component of business continuity plan. Then finally, if both the incident and response continuity plans fail, that's when you now move to disaster recovery plan. So that's when the disaster recovery plan is activated to return operation to normal as quickly as possible. That's disaster recovery plan. So that they can carry out what they need to carry out so that business can keep going. So the disaster recovery plan may include the following components. And the first one is executive summary, providing a high-level overview of what the plan is all about. Then the department-specific plans. That's okay, this plan is for this department. This plan is for this department. And they will give them the copy of their department so that if an incident occurs, they will know how to respond to that incident. Also, technical guides for IT personnel responsible for implementing and maintaining critical backup systems. So, when mapping out the disaster recovery plan, there will be a step-by-step that, as a team member of an IT organization, you must be able to follow. So they will actually map that out for you, so that when an event happens, you know what to do. You know that step 1 is to carry out this, step 2 is to carry out this, step 3 is to carry out this, and like that. Then we have full copies of the plan for critical disaster recovery team members, and also the checklist for certain individuals.